Hello, ladies and gentlemen. First up, applause for you. You made it. It's Sunday. It's last day. You're still standing. One more round for you guys. We are near the end. Hopefully, you're going to head to the party after this. Well, let me get just a few annoying housekeepings that you've heard 100 times by now out of the way, and we'll bring the real talent out. So, hello, I'm Jeanette Gregory. I'm very lucky to be working with Turner Classic Movies. They are all the big fans at TCM here, and I am here to announce the screening of An American in Paris. Now, before we get started, please silence any cell phones now before you regret what you had later. I've been that person too. We would also like to thank our presenting sponsor, Fandango at Home, for their generous support of the festival this year. And as you join us tonight for the closing night party in the Club TCM down at the pool as well, we are going to have a toast at 9 p.m. thanks to Fandango at Home. So please join us. Also, a final thanks to United Airlines for their generous support of the festival. And now finally, I have the immense pleasure of announcing not one, but two of our illustrious Turner Classic Movies hosts, our own Gene Kelly and Leslie Caron, introducing our dynamic duo, Alicia Malone and Dave Carter.
Thank you, Jeanette. Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. This is 2 for 1. And two hosts for
Exactly.
one. We were so excited when we got to do this together. We get to pick some of our favorites that we want to introduce, and
Yes.
and I was like, oh, I would love to do An American in Paris, but if Dave doesn't want to do it, because I know he loves that movie, but it would also be really fun if we did it together. And they said, no, that's what we meant.
Brilliant.
Said Dave, Alicia. I was like,
Well,
that'd be
and
great.
Jacqueline and Eddie did On the Waterfront together, so it's only fitting that we should do it together. And we both do love this movie.
Yeah, I love this movie. I know you do. An American in Paris, directed by Vincent Minnelli and produced by Arthur Freed, who saw the tone poem by George Gershwin, which is just a fun word to say, tone poem, and really liked the title and this composition, which is all about, feeling like a foreigner in a city, exploring that using a soundscape. But I think something that was really smart about Arthur Freed was when he was able to take just a concept and then make it into a cohesive musical using, music that didn't necessarily go together.
Right, and there's so much to appreciate in this film, and what I love about it is just the inventiveness of it. I mean, it's also surprising for a musical. You don't really get a big musical number until about 15 minutes in. You don't really get a big Gene Kelly musical number until 25, almost a half hour in, which is I Got Rhythm. And there's so many interesting things that they all decided to do, having him sing with the kids, the Leslie Caron kind of pastiche introduction. I love that Gene dances with the older ladies and by Strauss. I mean, there's so many things that were just not obvious that they decided to do because they were wanting this to be a musical that got respect, from critics and from the Academy. And sure enough, it did.
You got Gene Kelly in a jaunty hat as a painter, and I also love Oscar Levant, especially because he was one of the foremost George Gershwin interpreters. One of my favorite moments is when his character of Adam is having a dream and playing the concerto in F by George Gershwin, and he imagines himself in various different scenarios within that, playing the piano, then he's playing the drums, and then he's in the audience. It's so much fun, and like you said, it's very inventive.
Yeah, I got to do a whole night of Oscar Levant films with Michael Feinstein, and of course, who knows everything that there's possibly to know about him. And I mean, I'm a piano player, and I marvel at Oscar Levant. I mean, every time he's on screen, his piano playing is tremendous. Sean Hayes played him in a Broadway show, Goodnight Oscar, which we got to see, and he was just tremendous. But for me, it's all about Gene Kelly. I mean, I literally, whenever I watch American in Paris, I have to remember that there are other people on screen because I only watch Gene Kelly, no matter who else is on there, because he looks incredible. And for me, whereas Singing in the Rain is about the athleticism, this is about the elegance, the dancing, the choreography, the story, and he's firing on all cylinders here.
Yeah, he's effortless, and it's hard to imagine Fred Astaire in the role. Apparently it was between Gene Kelly and Fred Astaire. I mean, Fred Astaire, a wonderful dancer, but just a very different type of dancer to Gene Kelly. And Gene Kelly, of course, did a lot of the choreography. And also he suggested Leslie Caron, in her very first feature film role, and she's beautiful.
She's great, and I watched an intro that you did about this movie on TCM, and I love what you said. I mean, you said it in such a respectful way about how basically Leslie Caron was a teenager, was discovered, was a wonderful dancer, but they realized that she wasn't a great singer, so they just, figured out other ways for her to show her strengths. And I think you said like this is a rare musical where kind of almost all of the singing is done by men.
Yeah, it's very true, but of course you get to see her ballet dancing, and that brings us to the showstopper of the movie, the 17-minute ballet sequence. I know Eddie would be really upset with me if I didn't mention the cinematographer John Alton, who's a great film noir cinematographer, and they brought him in to lens that sequence. And it's remarkable, and it was inspired partly by The Red Shoes. At least they thought that The Red Shoes by Powell and Pressburger, because that did well, it meant that audiences were more willing to see long stretches of ballet. But it's become very influential. You see that in everything, like La La Land, for example.
Sure. I mean, even the Sing in the Rain kind of Broadway ballet was, an attempt to recreate this. But my favorite little statistic or fun fact, which I know you know, is that Vincent Minnelli, the director of American Paris, went off, directed Father's Little Dividend, and then came back while they constructed all of the sets for the 17-minute ballet number, and then they filmed the ballet number, which took longer to film, that number, than the entire movie of Father's Little Dividend.
Yeah, and $500,000. It was a big part of the budget. And I don't know if you all saw Babyface Dave Karga on TCM recently. On TCM's 30th birthday, we showed a lot of old Robert Osborne intros, which was so wonderful. And one of them, for An American in Paris, included Dave. That was 2007.
17 years ago.
17 years ago.
A child like 33 years old.
So
But,
sweet.
so this was one of the movies that I got to co-host with Robert Osborne, and it also was the very first musical matinee when we launched the musical matinee franchise a couple of years ago. So meaningful movie for both of us, for sure.
And you talked about the Oscars. This was a surprise win.
It was, because it was up against A Place in the Sun and A Streetcar Named Desire, and people thought that one of those two kind of heavier movies would win. So it was a bit of a shock when this won. So this won 6 Oscars, and not only won Best Picture, but it also won Screenplay and Musical Score, and Costume Design, and Cinematography, and Art Direction. So there's just so much to appreciate in this beautiful film on a big screen.
I know, the only other moment I want you to look out for is the New York, this is how tired I am, New Year's Eve ball, the black and white arts ball. There's some balcony jumping that I would not recommend at any New Year's Eve ball, particularly when you're drinking. So watch out for that, it looks spectacular on the big screen.
I just want to say, I cannot think of a better way that I would want to finish my whole TCM Film Festival weekend than sitting with you introducing this movie. You're the best.
Same. You're the best. Dave, you're the best. And I look forward to the party tonight. Look forward to seeing you all with the party. And enjoy this movie. Enjoy An American in Paris. Thank you.
Bye.